guys, so August is now over and we're in September, so that means it's time to do another video where I talk about the books I read last month. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the books I read in August. So sorry that this video is a little bit late, but pretty much I started grade 12 last week, so I'm at my final year of high school. So for the past week I've been trying to catch up on sleep and trying to get used to the schedule because I went from waking up at 11 in the afternoon to 7 in the morning. So just bear with me, I'm kind of getting used to it and I just have to be more on top of my videos and just getting them out when I'm supposed to. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. My motto is better late than never, so I am here to do this video even though it's a little bit late. Let's get on with talking about the books I read in August. So this month I read 8 books, so I'm going to go through those, tell you a little bit about them and how I like them. So starting off, I'll talk about book number 1, which was Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness, and this is the third and final book in the Chaos Walking trilogy. And as you guys might know, I reread book number 1 and book number 2 last month, so I was so excited to read this final book in the trilogy because I had not read it, and that's the reason why I read books 1 and 2 again, was for me to kind of catch up on the series, remember what happened, so I was prepared for this book. So after I read this book, I was completely just so happy with the way it turned out. It was everything I hoped for in this book, so overall I did give it a 5 out of 5 because I thought it was amazing, and the way it concluded the series was just how I expected and even better than I anticipated. I would highly recommend checking out this series. It's one of my favorites of all time, so if you want to know what the first book is about and what the series is about, definitely check out my review on The Knife of Never Letting Go, which is the first installment in this series. I talk about what it's about, why I love the book so much, and it's just a phenomenal series. The second book I read in August was Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, and I had read this about 4 years ago when it first came out, and then I had bought the sequel when it came out, but I wasn't able to read the sequel because I had forgotten so much about this book. So what I decided to do is reread this one so I could read the sequel and kind of get back into the series. About 4 years ago, I had given this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I was completely obsessed with it and I loved it. But then, rereading this book now, it wasn't the same. I found that because I read this for the first time around 4 years ago, my opinions have changed and my reading preferences have changed. One of the things I really loved about this book was the romance and the development, but then reading it again for the second time was the strangest thing because I found the romance to be creepy and weird and just not that interesting at all. So for me, reading this the second time around proved that I don't really like this series anymore. If you're interested, it's about a girl who meets the new boy in her class, and pretty much his name is Patch and he's gorgeous, he's tall, he's mysterious, and one thing leads to another and their stories intertwine. She learns more about him, he learns more about her, he's kind of creepy but she's intrigued by that. This whole romance intertwined with a mystery, and at times it was good, but I found that I didn't enjoy it as much as I did when I first read it. The third book I read in August was Crescendo, which is by Becca Fitzpatrick. It's the sequel to Hush Hush, and I read this because honestly it's been sitting in my bookshelf for so long. I just thought, I've reread the first one, I might as well just read the second one and see what the heck happens in this one. As soon as I started, I was just thinking, here we go again, the main character's driving me insane and I just don't want to do anything. I just want nothing to do with this sequel, so I just flew through it. I just took it for what it was. Let me know if the third one's better. I don't think it's really worth my time to continue reading it, but I may decide to, I don't know, take it out of the library or something because I don't like the main character enough to continue with this, and the only thing that really is intriguing about this series is the mystery, but even so, that's not even that great, so I don't know what to do. Overall, I gave this a 3 out of 5-ish, so it wasn't that good, but it was okay, I guess. The fourth book I read in August was Monument 14 by Emmy Laybourne, and if you watched my book haul, my recent book haul, then you may know what this is about. But for those of you who don't, it's pretty much following a group of kids who become trapped in a grocery store after a series of unfortunate events, and they learn that all throughout the world there's these natural disasters that are occurring that are very scary and very dangerous for those who are out there in the world. But for them, they're really safe in this grocery store. They learn how to live within it, how to survive, and what they need to do to get out, or better yet, get out alive. What I did enjoy about this book was the unique plot. I thought it was so cool, and even though the whole end of the world scenario has been done before, I found it unique and interesting because of the group of kids and their dynamic and where they are in this book. But for me, the beginning was the best part because it was developing the world, we were introduced to the characters and we met them, but by the end of it I wasn't too interested anymore because the ending wasn't how I thought it would have concluded, and I didn't like the events that occurred in the last half of it. I just thought they could have been more exciting and more interesting. And for that, I gave this like a 3 out of 5 to a 3.5 out of 5. I thought this could be a lot better. It was okay. I would recommend it because it's fun, it's light, and it was enjoyable. The fifth book I read in August was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and I talked about his series earlier, which was the Chaos Walking trilogy, so that's pretty much why I picked up this book, is because I love Patrick Ness and I am such a fan of his writing. This book isn't entirely by Patrick Ness because the idea is inspired from an author named Siobhan Dowd, so that idea was inspired by her and she wasn't able to write it or do anything with it because she passed away from cancer. The illustrations are beautiful. They are black and white and really gritty and really dark, which I enjoyed, and it also really brought the story to life. Also, as you can see, there's cool ones like this. You can see a monster's head right here. It's just awesome. That's one of the parts of this book that I really love. So, A Monster Calls is about a young boy named Connor who's dealing with a lot in his life. His mother has been diagnosed with cancer and he's not really getting along with anyone at school, so the mixture is kind of tearing him down and not allowing him to live a happy and young life like a boy his age should. One thing leads to another, and we learn that there is a tree that is outside of his house that literally comes to life every night and visits him in his bedroom. This is a very tall tree that is also very monster-like. Connor tries to reassure himself that it's just a nightmare, but when he wakes up after this so-called nightmare, there are leaves and branches all over his bedroom floor, which leads him to think that these nightmares are very real and not so dreamlike. So this story is filled with dark moments, but it's also filled with its light moments because this story is meant to teach you a lesson through this boy's life and through this monster and what his purpose is. So in the end, I decided to give it a 4 to 5 because I felt I wasn't really satisfied with it, but overall I really did enjoy reading it. Definitely check it out. I loved it and I would totally recommend it. The sixth book I read in August was Seraphina by Rachel Hartman, and we chose to read this book for the book club I am a part of for the month of August. So I have done a review on it that I have put up, so if you're interested to know what this is about and how much I loved it, definitely check out the review beside me. It was a phenomenal book and I really did like it. There's some things I wasn't a fan of, but overall I did give it a 5 out of 5, like a 4.5 or a 5 out of 5, somewhere between there, because I really did enjoy it, but there's some things I wish would have been different. Basically, if you love fantasy, if you love dragons, definitely check this out. Rachel Hartman puts an amazing twist on dragons that is hard not to like, so definitely check it out. It was a great book that I really did enjoy. The seventh book I read in August was Shadows Cast by Stars by Knutsson, and as you may know, I talked about this in my haul a little while ago, and I said how much I was excited to read this, and I said how much I hoped it would be good. It was one of the worst books I've ever read. I thought it was so dull and so boring. At times, I wanted to throw this book across the room. When I started it and I continued reading it, I couldn't help but be so let down by this book. I couldn't get over how boring and terrible it was. It hurts me to say how bad this book was, but honestly it was, and I'm telling you guys my honest opinion. I did not like it, I had high hopes for it, but I was completely let down. The thing with this book is that it has a lot of mythology and history intertwined with that, and at the beginning I thought it was totally believable and I liked the direction it was heading in, but as the book progressed and as that mythology kind of flourished and we learned more about it, it became hokey and fake, and I couldn't really believe it, and it wasn't believable whatsoever. Also, the main characters are as flat as a piece of cardboard. By the middle of the book, I'm like, I don't even care anymore. These characters are driving me insane. This romance came, and then it's like, where did that romance come from? I don't even know anymore. The romance is absolutely terrible. There's no development. The character development is some of the worst I've ever seen because these characters, we don't really know a lot about them. We know some things, but there's no connection. If you want to know what the plot and the synopsis is, I'm going to leave a link to Goodreads down in the down bar so you guys can check it out if you're interested. And if you have read it, let me know what you thought of it. For me, it was total disappointment, but for others, it may be a book that they love. It just all depends on the person. So the eighth and last book I read in August was Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. And in my bookshelf tour that I posted a couple of weeks ago, a lot of you were saying that I should definitely read this and just read it as soon as possible possible. So I took your advice, took it off my bookshelf, started reading it, and I really liked it. It was just so fascinating, and the message and the moral of this story is something that was very special and something that I feel like no one should miss out on. The story is about a girl named Sam who has it all. She has really popular friends, she has the best table in the cafeteria, she has a totally crush-worthy boyfriend, so for her, her life seems pretty much perfect at the moment. One thing leads to another, they go to a party, but none of them make it back home. And the thing about that moment is that it won't be her last moment because she's able to relive that day over and over again. She has 7 chances to relive this day, make it right, and ultimately change her ways and change who she is. The whole story is about not living with regrets and treating every day like it's your last, because you never know when things will change, and you ultimately never know when your last day will be your last. So the idea is to never live with regrets, to do things while you can, because someday you might look back and wish you had done things differently. So overall, I gave this a 4 to 5. For me, the ending wasn't satisfying enough, but the other things in this book were just amazing. So I gave it a 4 to 5. I thought it was such a great book, not only for its moral and its message, but the characters were really well crafted and the whole concept was brilliant. So I would highly recommend this. I really did enjoy it. I think that all of you should definitely read it. Alright guys, so that was my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've read any of the books I mentioned or plan to read them, definitely let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear your opinions on some of these books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any requests for any videos, definitely put them in the comments. I take in any requests and definitely consider them all. For those of you who started school or college or university or high school, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope everything goes well this year and that you have a phenomenal year. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!